Okay guys, welcome to the How to Hold video. In this video we'll be looking at train, and we'll be looking at the ivy or the vines area of train. This is the long corridor on the right hand side, leading into the A bomb site for the counter terrorists, and the one far down, taking a right corridor, leading to the A site for the terrorists. So first we'll be looking at timings, then angles, then positions, grenade usage, pushing, and then finally we'll be looking at terrorist afterplant positions. But let's first define which area of the map we're going to be looking at. So we're looking at the top right hand side of the map, the really long corridor, and just a little section out of the corridor as well, and attacks from T-spawn following down the corridor. But mainly we'll be focusing on the corridor itself, and the side from CT, and the T side of the corridor, just on the outside, and again, attacks from T-spawn. We won't be focusing on any other attacks, so these include attacks from T-main, from drop or pop dog, from A site or from CT spawn, as these will be done in other videos. So first let's have a look at timings, counter-terrorist timings, and the meeting angle. So for counter-terrorists to have a good spawn coming from CT spawn, to get to watch the corridor itself, not actually push it, it takes them about 9 seconds, can take them between 8 and 9 depending on how good of a spawn it is, but more commonly 9 seconds. For a terrorist to get to the end of the corridor, it can take them about 12 seconds. So therefore the meeting angle is the corridor itself. It takes 13 seconds for them to actually enter the corridor. So if you take that into account, it takes them a fair bit longer, so you've got a bit of time to set up. So we'll look at angles, we're going to aggressive angles and defensive angles. So you can take the super aggressive angle, which is pretty much into T-spawn, and then the cutoff into the corridor section, then corridor itself, the T side, blocking off points from the corridor, all the way into the CT side of the corridor, and then angles across the corridor, and then angles at the bottom lane way, or the first lane, and then just outside onto the A site. Now let's have a look at positions. We're going to look at aggressive positions, defensive positions, one kill, and AWPing positions. So you can play a super aggressive one that's pushed out of the corridor, you can play in the corridor itself, either side, and then watching the corridor, and then all the way down through, back through Ivy, close to CT spawn, and you can play it pretty much from the other side of the corridor as well, and then all the way to T-Hell, on top of the train, on the A site. There's lots of places to play on the A site. So you can play super aggressive here, it's pretty good, most of your teammate, you can push up and get a lot of info. Here's a one kill position, kinda catches them off guard. Another one kill position, again can kinda catch them off guard. The main position here is playing here. Be careful of AWPers. You can play here as well, but you do give up the corridor, so you do give up some intel. Back here is more of a rotational position. You're kind of not really covering it at all, you're only covering the right hand side. Another common position, playing from the left hand side of the corridor. Again, you worry about that intel. From here is a decent position, usually if you're playing A site and helping out. On top of the train can be decent, but wary of A main. On A site can also be useful, but usually again if you're playing A and you're trying to help out. AWPing, you can actually play super aggressive with the AWP, works well if you can get control of it. But mainly you just be watching the AWP down the corridor, using the long distances to your advantage. You can fall back, if they flash you can fall back to that point, and here is a rotational position again. Again you can play from the left hand side, and then if you need to fall back, you can also play from the A site. Again, more of a rotational position. Let's have a look at grenades. We're looking at smoke, splashes, and incendiary grenades. So first we'll start with the smoke grenade. So if you're playing super aggressive, you can actually still smoke. So you smoke it here, and this just stops them entering. It's not the best smoke, it does work quite well, but you're more likely just going to smoke off a corridor, but it can stop them even thinking about going that way. If you're trapped here, even if they know you're here, you're going to be in trouble, but you can pop a smoke there and you can get out using that smoke. You're not really going to be able to hold in that smoke, so just use it to get out. If you're at the next section down, you can do a two-handed throw to do the same thing. This one you can actually hold more closely, and it doesn't actually smoke where you're at, and actually doesn't really give away your position as easily. If you're playing the default position here on the right hand side, throw a smoke down the corridor, you got a choice, either get it in front of the little hut or behind the little hut. If you get it in front, you should be watching it more closely because they can boost. If you get it behind, so closer to you, the hut, you don't need to worry about the hut. Even if they boost over, they will still be behind the smoke. So you can just watch it and you don't need to worry about the boost for this one. If you're playing at the backward position here, just throw a smoke in, don't need to worry about the boost, and just watch the smoke. Quite easy, just make sure you get it far enough in, but not too far that you can actually see it. If you're playing way down here, you can actually throw a smoke, and this one's actually not very effective unless you think they're going to come CT. So this smoke will then force them to go into the A site, where you may have teammates being able to watch that, and they can therefore be watched. If you're playing from the left-hand side of the corridor, same rules apply. You can either smoke in front or behind the hut, so depending on how you want to smoke it. Just be wary of the boost if you're going to smoke it far down. If you're going to smoke it close, be wary of flashes, be wary of a push that they can do at multiple people at once pretty quickly. But you don't need to worry about the boost for that section, depending on how you want to play it. If you're playing from T-Hell, you can do a smoke that hits the right-hand side of the wall. This isn't a very good smoke, but it can maybe just deter them. Again, T-Hell is not really going to be where you want to be holding from, but it's good rotational. If you're on top of the train, smoke is normal. Just bounce it off the boxes, it'll land in quite a nice position, and you can watch it quite easily. Or you can use this to help out someone else who's holding there, and you can watch A main. If you're on A site, and you just want to help out your teammate who's playing Ivy or Vines, throw a smoke in there, they'll love it, and make sure you get it deep enough that they can watch it, without having to block off either side of the lane. If you want to block off a lane, so maybe they're blocked off the left-hand side, you think they're going to come to A, you can smoke it from here, and it'll just block off the A side, so then you're going to trap them in that lane itself. Or if they're going to execute on A, you can just smoke it there. Flashbangs, there's a bunch of flashbangs you can do if you're playing aggressive. You can pop flash out into the T corridor here, or you can do an underhand flash, depending on which ones you prefer. The underhand flash is a little bit easier, but you do have to be a bit closer to the wall. Two-handed flash can go off the wall. This one's quite easy, and it's quite effective. It gets them a lot closer than the others. The other goes a bit further back. And this one here gets them a bit further back as well. So this one here is for the most further back, and then it just goes between the others. If you're trapped here, you can throw an underhand flash. If you throw it diagonally, it'll be a pop flash. If you throw it straight, it won't. But the straight one's a bit easier to do. If you're feeling special, you can actually throw an underhand flash over. Quite a good pop flash. They do hear it bounce though, and it's actually pretty hard to throw. This one here, two-handed flash or a single-handed flash, across the side work a lot better, but it's not a pop flash. So just practice them, figure out which one you want to use. If you're at the next cutout, you can just do an underhand flash, pop in the middle. If you flash it this far out, it's not a pop flash people on the right-hand side, but it is a pop flash people on the left-hand side, and it will flash them. If you want to do a pop flash people on the right-hand side, to the right hand of where I was standing there, you have to throw it closer to you, but it will not flash people watching from the left. So this one here, same rules apply, it's just a flash off the wall. If you're playing default position and you want to peek it, you can throw a flash in. This isn't that effective, because if they're actually more to the left, they can see it coming, but it might be able to slow them down. You can do an underhand flash just across the lane. Again, this flash is about in the middle. It's not a pop flash for people further across, but it is for people on the left, and it will flash everybody. Just do a straight flash here as well. Again, rolling along the ground is a bit easier for those. If you really want to, you can do an underhand over the top flash, and it will flash pretty much the same position. They're all going to land pretty much the same, pretty much the optimal position for them to land, and it's a bit hard to see with the railways in the way for those flashes. Playing the far back position, you maybe want to gain a bit, you can throw flashes as well. So if you think they're pushed down, you can do an underhand flash, and it'll flash people who are pushed down here. Quite good to retake that position, and make sure they don't get too much map control. You can also use the walls. So you've got a few walls that you can use. Just make sure, figure out which flashes work best for you. If you're rotating in, you can do a two-handed flash up the stairs. This will flash people watching there. This is more good for retaking. If you want to help your teammate out, this flash here will slop them. So this is more for more holding rather than retaking. From the left-hand side, the same rules apply. This one's actually a bit easier to do, and it's a bit better flash than the one on the other side. An underhand flash will apply as well. This one's quite good. If you're far to the left-hand side, again, it won't be a pop flash. You can flash over the boxes. Just figure out which flash works best for you again. Because they're the flashes you're going to learn, they're the flashes you're going to be best at. If you're playing in T-Hell, and you want to flash across, just use the wall, straight flash. Make sure you don't get it too far, otherwise it will just miss the IV altogether. You can do an underhand flash from T-Hell as well. And this will flash people who are pushed out. Now, these flashes here won't stop anyone who's coming out Ivy or looking the other way. They'll only flash people who are looking your side. Good people who you think are going to take A side or who kind of know you're there. So any of these flashes work. Some land closer to you, some land further away, depending on how far they're out. Because those boxes do stop flashes. On top of the train, flashes work as well. just straight flashes bouncing up in their face. You can also use the train itself to flash, and this will land all the way down Ivy. And if you think they're pushed out of the corridor, you can just roll a flash across the train and it'll land right on the train itself. You can then stand up and take a shot, and they should be pretty blind. If you're on the A site and you want to help out your teammates, a straight flash down. This will flash them all the way to the T side of the corridor. If you think they're pushed out, you can just use the boxes. Just move your crosshair slightly to the left, and it'll flash a bit closer. It works a bit better. So incendiaries, pretty much where you're going to put the smokes, you're going to put the incendiaries. So right here, stops people running in. You can buy you a bit of time. Incendiaries here actually work a lot better because you can pop them right at the front. But be wary, this incendiary will not stop people shooting you when you move out, and they will know where you are. This one here works a bit better because you can move out and go to the other side, so you can actually use this one to get away. Default incendiary is going to be pretty much the same where that one was, just right at the top here. You want it far back so they don't boost up. Unless you really want to think they're going to boost up, or there's a smoke there, you can pop it on the other side of the boost. So they boost up and then it's going to land an incendiary if they try to cross. Just make sure you don't get it in the middle. So if you're going to do far back, you can pop it right at the end. This doesn't really stop them coming out, but it does slow them down. From the other side, you can pop a incendiary right in front of the boost here. You can actually get it further in if you want to. From T-Hell, this one here is quite good for delaying. You can pop it here, and then if your teammate died or something, you throw that and you could go and hold Ivy yourself. Top of the train, you can just pop it right at the front. This one's actually a bit hard to land, and it just really stops them. It stops stuffs with their timing, that one. And on A site, you can do the same. So again, helping out your teammates, because Ivy is usually held by one person, but help is always useful. Let's have a look at pushing. We're going to look at benefits and detriments. So there's two things you can push here. So you're going to push pretty much into T-spawn, but then you can push either into the A main area. This just forces people into the A site. It's quite a good push. Or you can push into the White Halls, Brown Halls area. Not quite good, because you do give up Ivy and A main, and then you just go down Pop Dog. Let's have a look at terraced R-plant positions. We're going to look at aggressive ones and defensive ones. So there's only a few for Ivy. So there's this one which is pretty aggressive. It's coming people up from CT. In Ivy itself, quite defensive. You can actually watch the bomb if you swing slightly more to the left. And then, of course, T-Hell itself. A pretty decent position. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.